It's really just wanting to help people.
You're such a good person.
I try.
Like, this is when I realize everyone's a better person than me.
Not necessarily.
All right.
Before we start today's show, please visit the sponsors, affiliates, and friends of the Stagecoach. The Square Reviews, brutally honest product and travel reviews for red-blooded Americans by red-blooded Americans. Visit them at thesquarereviews.com. TheGunFood.com has an extensive network of partners to connect you with your guns, ammunition, and firearm training. The Gun Food only sells ammo that they trust. Use RSWC as a discount code and save 5.56% on your order at thegunfood.com. PowerTac flashlights have combined premium craftsmanship, American ingenuity, and cutting-edge technology, creating a highly dependable tool that you can trust your life with. Go to powertac.com/RSWC and save 15% on your order. That's powertac.com/RSWC. Sabre Pepper Spray has been making grown men cry since 1975. Find the link in the show description and help get the Stagecoach across America with every Sabre Red purchase you make.
Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the Stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Riding Shotgun with Charlie. So glad you guys are here today. If you are new to the channel and you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure you do. If you're listening to the show in podcast, obviously leave some sort of a thumbs up or a good review there. Please share the show with your friends because that is how we get the Stagecoach across America. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in San Diego, and I have with me Desi Bergman from Not Me SD. Desi, thank you so much for being on the show.
Charlie, thanks for being in my city today.
I'm excited to be away from home.
Well, I'm excited to show you my city.
I am excited about this. I love being away. I love having road trips.
Road trips are fun, and we're going to take a road trip out to Coronado, which is our beautiful island here today.
Very cool. We're not going to have to bang a U-turn soon, are we?
No, not at all.
All right. So I'm going to ask a dumb question.
I like dumb questions, and there's no such thing as a dumb question.
Right. Only dumb people.
Exactly. And I don't think you're that.
We'll wait until the show's over. Oh, geez, we do have to turn. Did we meet at GunProm a couple years ago?
We did meet at GunProm a couple years ago. Yes.
Okay.
You just didn't remember me, apparently.
I try. I'm going to sound like a pervert. I try my best to remember the pretty girls.
Appreciate that.
And then we met briefly.
We did.
We did meet briefly.
Yep.
I don't know what you heard about GunProm, but I may have been over self-served.
So you had a little too much to drink at GunProm. That happens to the best of them.
Yes, yes.
It happens.
And I do remember finding you on the Facebook and
Facebook, yes.
The Facebook, because I'm old, and then friend requesting you. And
yep.
then when so we're here for Gun Rights Policy Conference in San Diego.
What did you think of the conference this weekend?
I thought it was good, but here's the scoop. So I put a picture up of the German. Of Matthias. He actually Ubered us from the airport to the hotel. And I put this picture up on Facebook, and he showed me some text messages. You're like, oh my God, you're hanging out with Charlie. It's great. And I'm like, wait a second.
You're like, wait a second, Desi's here in San Diego?
Right.
Yes, this is my city.
This is your city, so this is cool.
This is beautiful. I mean, look, it's a perfectly, 76 degrees outside right now. And
76. I had a friend call me this morning, like, is it 72 and sunny? I'm like, not yet.
Not yet.
But it will be.
We're getting there.
We are getting there.
Just please don't crash my car.
As some people like to say, You have the insurance, and we're not afraid to use it.
Well, let's not use
let's
it
not
today.
use it. Let's not. So the rules I got were no kidnapping and don't take you to Mexico.
Yes, Adam told you not to kidnap me or take me to Mexico.
All right, I shall not do that.
But then you don't know where those are, so then the viewer should be careful because I know where Mexico is. So if you don't see Charlie again, just check Mexico.
This could be the last episode of Riding Shotgun.
It could be the last episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
That's gonna
we
be
might take him to Mexico, so just be forewarned, viewers.
I'm going international.
We are going international. I mean, we're going to be pretty close to the border.
Really?
I mean, we can be.
Yeah, everyone was talking about going to the border, and I thought there was like a display for Pink Floyd.
No, we don't want to. We don't want to go to the border. Coronado's better to go see.
Yes, Coronado. So Coronado's like this little island, right, with the bridge.
Yep, it's this beautiful island with the bridge. You're going to see some nice views going over that. Nice. We have a lot of military bases on there.
Yeah, there's a naval base.
Yep, there's a naval base. You've got the Hotel del Coronado, which is a very historic venue there. But we're not going to go see that because it's just it's too touristy. We don't want to be touristy today. We do
not want to be.
No,
we want to pretend like you're from here, so you don't do that stuff.
Right. I mean, I've been here for over 10 years, so I think that makes me a local now, right?
I don't know how long it takes to become a local.
I feel like it's 5 years and you're a local.
5 years?
I think so.
You guys don't have accents out here, do you?
Oh, we have plenty. California drivers are the worst.
Drivers? No, not accents. Like language accents, you can tell from some people are from.
I mean, you're from Jersey. No, I mean, I've been told I have a California accent, but I don't know what that means.
Okay, I think that means you don't sound like you're from somewhere else.
Could be,
but you pronounce your R's.
I do pronounce my R's.
There you go.
I do.
Good. That's good. All right. How did you become a gun gal? Tell me about all of this.
So the history of me becoming a gun gal is I was born and raised in Central California.
Yeah. My
grandparents and my dad all owned a farm. So as a kid, I was basically holding a gun since I was 2 years old and I could hold one. So when dad was out, checking the irrigation on the farm, and so we had cotton, hay, alfalfa, I was that little girl that was hanging out the window with her BB gun shooting rabbits. So my greatest memories as a kid were going out and taking, our targets and our guns to the land that we owned and being able to set them up anywhere and shoot our targets.
That's cool.
My dad was also a sheriff reserve, while he was a farmer. And so I was taught a respect from firearms from a very, very young age, which was to me very awesome. And so I loved that kind of a childhood. We had plenty of guns throughout the house, and, all of my family back home is either law enforcement. And so we really did have a history of firearms and that in my family.
Gotcha. Now, are you killing the rabbits with the BB gun?
No, we're just trying to scare them off a little bit because we didn't want them eating, all of our crops out there. So we were just really trying to scare them. I wasn't trying to kill them.
Okay, because I'm like...
it's good target practice, though,
Right, they're small targets, they move around.
Yeah, and then my brother would, sometimes steal the BB gun and try to shoot me with it. But, that was just him being a jerk.
Right, this is what boys do.
That is what boys do. That's what older brothers do, too.
This is true.
Yeah. So I've been in San Diego, I think 13 years now, right? And so I discovered San Diego County Gun Owners about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
One of my really good friends took me to a barbecue at Gunfighter Tactical, which Gunfighter Tactical was one of my favorite gun shops in San Diego. And they introduced me to Michael Schwartz, who is the executive director. Michael Schwartz, yeah.
The great thing about Michael Schwartz is he gets to be Michael Schwartz all the time.
He does, and I get to work with him. So.
That's awesome.
But I met Michael Schwartz at a barbecue about 4 years. No, it's been about 5 years that I met him. And he was like, hey, I've got this program that I'm trying to get up and running. It's called Not Me SD. And, I was hoping that we could talk a little bit more about this and see if you can help out.
Cool.
I was like, great, it's a program. You get girls, guns, you sign me up, right? And so I started volunteering with this program and kind of learning a little bit more about it and, what it entailed. And then, of course, when COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
They needed someone to take a larger role within this program. And so Michael was like, I got the best person for the job. She's awesome. Desi, can I hire you part-time to help take this program to the next level? And I was like, sign me up.
Cool. So were you already a firearm instructor?
So I got my certifications all throughout this process. And so I don't teach a lot, but I do have my NRA instructor certification. I'm an NRA RSO. I've taken multiple instruction classes to be an instructor. And so I like to have all the qualifications because it just helps me, articulate better when I'm hosting these classes and things. And so knowledge to me is power, of course. And I love having as much knowledge as I can on whatever I'm teaching about. So Not Me SD, for those viewers that don't know about my program, is a program that we really aim to help women who have been victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. And we do that by helping them purchase a firearm. We help them with training and finding qualified instructors. And then we also help them get their CCW, or California Concealed Weapons Permit. And so this program has come a long ways, Charlie, since I took over about 4 years ago, because there's just so many people out there that want to learn about firearms. And if you look at the demographics from women firearms owners, there's been a big shift where before, let's just say 5 years ago or before COVID, firearms were primarily male-dominated industry, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But now you see a lot of women that are wanting to protect themselves. And so you've kind of seen the shift of firearms ownership being like 30% women to 70% male, I think is what you could have said about 5 years ago, to where now it's about 60-40.
That's great.
So women are wanting to learn how to shoot. They're wanting to learn more about firearms, and they're, kind of taking those next steps to do that. And Not Me SD has been a very big factor in helping train these women to get firearms. And so our primary focus, Charlie, is of course helping these women who have been victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. But then it's kind of evolved into a program to where we're really just wanting to be a resource for women who want help.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, if you walk into a gun range, especially here in San Diego, 99% of the people behind the counter are male.
Okay.
And so having someone there with you to be able to help kind of talk through, you're good.
Yep.
What kind of firearms you need, because what you recommend might be completely different than what I might recommend to a female.
Sure.
Because we're built a little differently, and male perception is completely different than female perception. And so the way my program works is we get women and a volunteer, which they're called ambassadors. And these ambassadors are gun-loving enthusiasts like myself who have all this knowledge, and they just want to help these women get the answers and the help that they're looking for.
Very cool.
So we help them by even helping them pick out a firearm. We go into a range with them, right? And then once a month, we do what we call shooting socials, where we pair brand new shooters with experienced mentors, and we teach them how to shoot. And it's a much more inexpensive way of having these females learn how to shoot than it is to do like private instruction right away. We want to ease these women into the process. And so that's a great starting point for them to kind of go.
Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about some stuff. What does somebody have to do to get a permit in California? Do you have to have a permit to purchase things? I know that, like there was the thing.
So it's called a firearm safety card.
Okay. Yep. Firearm safety card.
So you need a firearm safety card, which is 30 questions, and that's good for 5 years.
Okay.
So that's step one, is you need that.
How $30 you said?
About $30. About $25, $30. Yep.
Okay. And it's just 30 questions?
30 questions. You can only miss 7 of them.
Gotcha.
Yep. So pretty easy. And
pretty
they're
easy. Yep.
Self-explanatory, common sense questions.
All right. I did the motorcycle license a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And some of the questions that were on the exam were, what is the fine for this? And how much does this cost? And I'm like, what does this have to do with learning how to ride a motorcycle?
Right.
Like, I don't think I need to know how much it costs if I get pulled over and
I don't think you need to know that
without a
either.
license or something. That's ridiculous.
There aren't those kind of questions on this firearm safety test. They're much more geared towards
gun
firearms
stuff.
Gun stuff. Yeah, like safety. How do I store this? How do I do that? Right. So
Gotcha.
they're very more geared towards firearms.
Very cool. Very cool. What do you suggest for a woman as a new shooter? Are you one of these? Yeah.
So that's a loaded question, Charlie.
Loaded question. Waka.
When we talk about firearms, we always talk about like, what's your purpose for it, right? Because you have to think there's different purposes for different types of firearms.
Yeah.
And when I classify these, I look at a couple different categories.
Okay.
Is it a home defense gun, right? Because a home defense gun to me is completely different than, say, my concealed carry gun.
Right.
And then you also have a training gun. So those are kind of the 3 categories that I look at when I look at firearms.
Okay.
So when you're talking about a home defense gun, to me, I think about something that's a little bit bigger, because you want to be able to have a lot more accuracy with that,
right,
especially in a home defense situation. So my popular one that is actually my same training gun is a Glock 19, right? Because
nice.
Glocks are the Honda of the gun world, where you can fire them and they are not going to malfunction. And that's what I will tell everybody.
So Glock used to be a sponsor of the show until you come out and say the Honda. The Honda Accord?
Hondas will just run and run and run, Charlie. I mean, I just like to say that. So
Gotcha.
Sorry, Glock, if you're listening and that wasn't what I'm supposed to say, but I love my Glock. Right.
I think I took the. Did I take the right turn?
No, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, you did because we're going.
We're going that
bridge.
way.
Yep.
Gotcha.
You're good.
Gotcha.
Just
Okay. I'm joking. Glock is not a sponsor of the show. So.
It's like great. So a home defense gun to me is again something a little bit bigger that you want to have a little bit more weight to it because if for some reason they're close enough and you need to knock them over the head with it and knock them out, right? You want to have something that has a little bit more girth to it. So to me, that's a home defense gun. My training gun, again, I love my Glock 19 for that just because I'm a lot more accurate with it and I love that gun and I've had it for years. And so that's my training gun. Now, when it comes to concealed carry, again, women are built differently. So when we think about concealed carry, I want something that's a smaller profile that I can carry on myself a lot easier. And so when I think of the concealed carry, I carried an M&P Shield for a number of years. Like that was the one I carried. I loved it because it was, thin enough profile that I could conceal it very easily. But then there's all these other guns, that other states can have that California can't.
Right.
Because we have the silly thing called a California handgun roster. And so we can't have every gun on our roster like every other state can. And it is the stupidest thing ever. But we have a California handgun roster and I hate it. But
I hear ya.
Recently, we've had more guns being added to this roster. And so we've been able to have a lot more options. And so I always loved the SIG 365.
Cool.
Because it was a smaller gun, smaller profile. Mm-hmm. I shot it multiple times and loved it. But trying to get one of those on the black gun market, right, were so hard because they want to charge you double for it.
Right.
And so at the beginning of the year, I was added to the roster. And as soon as it was, I grabbed that one. And now that is my conceal gun.
Very cool.
And I love it because it's smaller. It holds more bullets.
Yep.
And for our viewers, we are now heading onto the Coronado Bridge.
Yes.
And heading over to the island. So.
Heading over to the island.
Yep. And it is a perfect day. We are in an industrial area right now, but we will soon be over the bridge and onto the beautiful island of Coronado.
Nice. So last time I was here, I took a day.
Okay.
I took John Petrolino's car. I was John's plus one, which
cute.
Sounds ridiculous, but I was John's plus one at the GunProm a couple years ago.
Okay.
And he and his wife and his son went to the zoo or something, and I borrowed the car, and I came over here and I filmed me playing America the Beautiful in a couple places with San Diego behind me.
That's awesome.
And I tried to ask the guys in the naval base if I could go there and play the trumpet, and they said no.
Just no.
They're like, yeah, no, you can't come over here.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. Because I'm like trying to find the place that's got some good scenery behind me.
View here.
This is beautiful.
Isn't this beautiful?
This is gorgeous.
This is
looks
one
like
of my
that
favorite
ship
views.
is in the middle of the sky. It's
kind
so
of looks
cool.
like it, but that's just out to sea past the ocean out there. That's
Put
got to
out
be
past the breakers.
a carrier.
I don't know. I'm not carrying.
No. Ha ha ha.
Well,
nice little joke
I'll
there,
be
Charlie.
I'll be here all week.
That's a nice joke.
Don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses.
But yes, over here you have downtown San Diego with our nice little skyline.
Nice.
I love going out to this harbor over here because it's beautiful. You got all kinds of ships out there.
Mm.
And when I go kayaking, we sometimes come out this way because it's a very awesome time out here.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, now we are on the island.
Now we are on the island.
We're
yes.
on the island.
We're going to take a nice little drive around the island. Kind of like loop around is what we'll do.
Cool. All right, so let's get back.
Yep.
You get the 365. I just bought a 365 XL.
Okay.
And I kind of like it. I did an advanced pistol handling class with it recently.
Okay.
And it was good. I bought a red dot for it.
So you souped it up.
The red dot, really, I need a lot of work. That's not a cop. I need some work with the red dot.
Okay.
I had a hard time acquiring the red dot. My red dot's green, by the way.
So it's a green dot, not a red dot.
I know, but you can't call it a green dot.
I'll call it a green dot.
Right? Well, isn't that weird to call the red dot a green dot a red dot? I don't know. I got a dot on the gun.
You got a dot on the gun.
I got a dot on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was weird to pull the gun up and not look for the sights. Anyway.
I don't like red dots. I'm a iron sights girl because I want to be able to train how I'm going to shoot, and so I'm always just training on iron sights. I think that the red dots and the green dots are kind of cheating.
Oh, well, let me tell you this. So I got a friend. We call him the BSKOG,
okay.
the Bay State King of Glocks. He only has 4 safes full of Glocks and ARs. Okay. Am I taking this turn?
No, but you will at the next one.
All right. And I was doing I did the USCCA instructor course last year. This one?
Yep.
I did the USCCA instructor course about a year and a half ago. And he'd been telling me for a couple of years, I have a Gen 2 Model 19, or a Glock 19 Gen 2. And he has a Gen 5 with the red dot on it. And he's been telling me for about 2 or 3 years. He's like, hey, man, do you want to borrow my 19 with the red dot? I'm like, no, I'm good. I was like you. I'm like, yeah.
Red dots are cheating.
Right. And so before I did the USCCA class, I went to the range with him, and I used the red dot, and I shot much better with the red dot. I'm just throwing it out there, girl.
Okay. I might as well look into it.
Yes. So once I bought the SIG, I'm like, I found someone selling one, and it was going to fit. The profile was going to fit, and all that kind of stuff. So I bought the green dot.
I mean, that's fair. I do have, optics, of course, on all of my rifles, just not on my handguns.
Gotcha. What do you think about setting a woman up with, or a woman, new shooter, up with a 22 rather than going with a 9?
So it really depends on the person, right? So what's interesting about the group that I run, so Not Me SD, is we have a wide range of women that actually come through the program. So you've got your younger women that are like early 20s, my age. We won't talk about how old I am. But then you also have this demographic of older women that are coming to us wanting to learn how to shoot because their husbands have now passed away, and so they want to learn how to protect themselves. And so a lot of these older women that come through, they don't have the wrist strength to be able to rack most guns, and a lot of times they've never shot a gun before in their life because they've had their husband to protect them all these years, and so they're very scared of the recoil, or sometimes they just can't handle it. And so depending on the person, I will start some women off with a 22 compared to a 9 because we want to kind of ease them into that.
Right.
And because a 22 is so much less recoil, it's just a great little starting point.
Right. It gives. I like shooting the 22s. I've got a couple of Walther P22s.
I love my Walther P22. It is teal, of course.
Of course. Very nice. That's your favorite color?
It is my favorite color. Yep.
Very cool. I got mine for my kids because I wanted my kids to have a handgun to shoot when they were 5, 6, 7 years old.
That's fair. I mean, that was my first gun that I purchased, was a Walther 22.
Perfect.
And I love it because it's just so much fun. What's great is whenever I take anybody to the range and I teach them, we always end a range day with a mag dump on the 22.
Oh, nice.
And we want to see how fast can you pull that trigger to get rid of all 10 rounds.
That's cool.
My record's 2 seconds.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
2 seconds, 10 rounds.
We're going to call you Machine Gun Desi.
I mean, it's just so much fun to pull that trigger as fast as you can.
Right.
And 22 is just, every time people do that, there's always a big grin on their face after. And I've taught everybody that I train with to do that, and they just love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is
so
cool.
I do believe in 22s. I think that they're great for starting people out on.
Yep.
I got my sister a 22 for Christmas last year because I wanted to get her into shooting more than what she is. And we got her a purple one because purple is her favorite color, and she absolutely loves it.
Excellent.
But they won't stop people, right? Because you would have to literally unload a full magazine to stop someone. So they're great for training. They're great for starting out. But you and I both know they are not defensive weapons.
This is true. Yeah, they're good to start with. Teach you the fundamentals.
Yep. They're great for kids, right?
Trigger press. Absolutely. And then you would move them up to, the Shield or the 365
so
or Glock
Shields,
19?
Honestly, we don't train a lot on the Shield because that trigger is very tricky sometimes, right? And so it's not a great first-time shooter gun because of how tricky that trigger can be.
Okay.
So I love starting people off on like a Glock 19, Glock 17. A lot of people have like the 320s as well. So what's great about our shooting socials when we have them in the mornings is our mentors will bring in a plethora of firearms. And so they'll just lay them out and be like, here you go. What do you want to shoot?
Nice.
And if we turn down anywhere, we can that's taking us to the beach if you want to drive down that way. This is just kind of looping us around the island now.
Nice.
So it's really up to you with where you want to go.
Yeah.
This is kind of driving down Main Street right now.
Main Street, Coronado.
Yeah. Main Street, Coronado. You've got all the cool little shops on the side, right? I mean, it's Sunday afternoon on the island, so you've got a lot of tourists that are out here right now, which is great. And if we keep driving in this way, you can see the Hotel Del that is currently under construction right now, of course, because they are redoing everything on it. But it is great.
Gotcha. We got to get a selfie somewhere here.
We do. So then let's turn down that way if you can.
Left turn to the right?
Quick turn to the right. No, we'll turn down that way and go there.
Okay. Because that's always good to put stills in.
Yeah. So, out of my family, I have an older brother, younger sister, mom, dad, unfortunately, is not with us anymore. And out of all my siblings, I am the only person that's kind of stuck with firearms. And so I kind of feel like I'm taking on Dad's legacy by continuing shooting and doing what I do. And so it's been great. And I will say one of my favorite guns that I have in my possession right now is my dad's sidearm that he had while he was a sheriff, which is a 38 Special Blue Steel Python.
Really?
Yes. So my dad was, a sheriff reserve in the 80s. And so that is what they carried.
It's 4-inch barrel?
Yep.
Oh my
4-inch barrel. It is beautiful. And every time
That's
my mom comes to
awesome.
visit, she thinks she's taking it back with her, but it's always at the gunsmith. So she's never getting that gun back. Never. Because that is mine
Unless
now.
she watches the show, and then she's going to know.
I don't think she'll watch. Well, yes, Mom, if you're listening, you're still not getting it back. I'm sorry.
All right, so much for that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
That's cool. Some of the guns that I appreciate the most were the ones that were, owned by my grandfather, my father. I didn't grow up in a gun family, but those are the ones that I like the most.
It's fun to have the history with the guns, right? Like I definitely have an arsenal. So if you're listening, please don't break into my house because it'll be a bad day for you.
Right.
There are guns.
So don't bring into my house because I will. No, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you might. Yes. And she's a gun owner, remember?
Sure.
And she was middle class family. She grew up in a middle class family.
In a middle class family.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear her speak, I just have to turn down the volume.
I just changed the channel.
Sorry for those of you that might know, I am a Trump fan. I believe in protecting our Second Amendment rights. So if she becomes in office, it's going to be a rough next 4 years.
Yes. Not just for gun owners, for the rest of America,
For the rest of America, exactly. So we hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So this is just going to take us down a little bit further, but we should probably U-turn back that way whenever you want to.
Yes.
Because this is a military base over here on that side as well.
This is the military base that I tried to pull into.
But let's just flip a U-turn and go back that way.
Nice. I love banging a Yui.
Making a Yui. This part is pretty well with making a Yui, so don't worry.
All right. We got a light for banging a Yui.
We do.
All right. So we were talking about Not Me SD
Yeah.
and helping women.
So I love this program, and there's a couple of reasons why I love helping with this program. I have what I call a servant's heart, and I love just being able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very diverse background, of course, in firearms and love the Second Amendment and always have. And so this program kind of gives me an opportunity to use both passions of mine together. And so I love being able to help these women that come through the program because you have to think that when you're a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault, you feel helpless because of these situations that have happened to you. And, people that are in these situations, they don't bring them on themselves, right? Like they are a victim in these situations. And so a lot of times you have to think about, it's not just the one situation that happened, it's a series of events. You have the mental trauma that comes with that, and then the fear of potentially this happening again. And so when you can help empower women to take back the safety into her own hands, that is just gratitude that I can't even describe, Charlie, on how that feels. And so let me tell you about one of the first situations that I came across with Not Me SD, where we helped a woman who had been a victim of domestic violence. And so one way that I promote my program is I love going on our local news station and doing interviews. And I love walking into the studio because everybody knows me at this point. They're like, Desi's here. We love interviewing her. And it's just like one big happy family. And I love that. And That's awesome. I was on KUSI right after COVID, just kind of promoting the program. And, I get alerts when people applied for the program, and I got done with the interview and I had like 40 new notifications. And I was like, holy crap. I just had 40 new inquiries because, again, women want to protect themselves. And so this girl reached out to me directly and she's like, hey, Desi, I saw you on KUSI. I love what you guys do. I've been a victim of domestic violence. What can you do to help? And one thing you have to think about, Charlie, is when these women are in domestic violence situations, a lot of times they can't afford to get out, which is why they stay in these situations.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, no problem. Come to one of my shooting socials and we'll kind of, work you through the steps. And that's kind of how we start the process.
Right.
But in her situation, Charlie, she'd actually been shot twice in the head.
What?
Yes. And so when she told me like the more details of her situation, it's kind of like, okay, this isn't a normal situation. Like, we're going to have to handle this a little differently. And so what we did is we
stand to the right or the left?
Go to left.
All right.
We had her come into our shooting social before anybody had showed up, because if you think about someone that's been shot before, even the sound of a gun might trigger like mental kind of flashbacks.
Yeah.
And so we had her come in. I actually had Michael Schwartz there with me that day. And so I had him take her out onto the range and kind of just start easing her into it. And then we brought the rest of the class in, and our classes are typically 15 shooters. And by the time we brought the rest of the class in, what I loved is I saw her name was Kanisha. She was out there with Mike, and she was having so much fun, Charlie, that she was like dancing on the range because she was like keyholing her rounds, and she was having so much fun out there. And I was just like, wow, this is a woman who's been shot before, and yet she's here actually being able to listen to the gunshot, and she's not like overreacting, and she's not, having an emotional breakdown, which you normally would think might happen. And so she was doing great. After the shooting social, she took Mike and I aside, and she's like, look, I so much appreciate what you guys do, because I've been looking for a program like this and hadn't found one. I have 5 kids, and I really want to learn how to protect myself and my family. And then what she does, Charlie, she pulls back her hair like this, and she shows us the 2 bullet scars right on her neck here.
Oh my God.
So it was her ex-husband that shot her twice in the head. She was supposed to die.
Obviously.
She's supposed to be a quadriplegic, but somehow she miraculously survived and is like, she's the sweetest lady ever. And so she, like, the gratitude that you could just feel from her was just, again, it's something I can't describe, because she was so grateful for what we were doing for her. So from there, we really helped her get training. So I've set her up with a lot of, instructors. We helped her get her firearm, and we really kind of continued through the process. But this was kind of my first glimpse into, this is what we're here to do, and this is why my program exists.
Right. This is the big impact.
This is the big impact. And, we, of course, will focus on firearms because that is our specialty. If you want to get over, we can go left, and that'll take us to the beach.
Okay.
Right? So we focus, of course, on firearms because that's what Not Me SD is for. We're a firearms organization. We want to focus on that. But then we also promote other forms of self-defense because I believe that women should have as many tools in their toolbox as they can to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And so we do a lot of Krav Maga classes, right? We teach pepper spraying and, situational awareness class. So we definitely promote a variety of classes for these women because, again, we want them to be empowered. And not everyone can have a firearm. Like, there are certain women where, depending on their mental state or if they can even hold a firearm because arthritis, I don't think that they should own one. And I have had to turn some women away because I didn't think that they were suitable for a firearm.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is one of the first Krav Maga classes that we did a women's self-defense class with one of my instructors. Instructor actually saw me in KUSI, reached out and was like, hey, what can I do for you? I want to help you. And I'm like, okay, great. So we did this 4-hour self-defense class with Krav Maga where we were reenacting situations that can happen to women, right? Like domestic violence or sexual assault situations. And as I was watching this class, Charlie, what was very interesting and eye-opening is I kept seeing some of these women have to step away for a minute. And so I started going over and just like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? And they were just telling me, Desi, this situation actually happened to me.
Whoa.
And so and these are women that I had been working with for a while, maybe some of my ambassadors that attended as well. And so what you have to realize, Charlie, is not everybody has a story, but they're not all sunshine and rainbows.
Are we doing a U-turn or just taking a left?
No, we're going to go straight.
Okay.
Not all these stories are sunshine and rainbows. And some of these women have been in these situations, but of course they don't really talk about it because, well, those are hard situations to talk about. And so, even though some of these women are just here training and they're kind of working through their journey and everything, we treat them all very special because you just never know who has a history and a past that might impact them. But no matter what, there is a reason that drives these women to my program. And it's because they want to learn about firearms. They want to learn to protect themselves. And you have to think too, a lot of these moms want to protect their kids, right? It's that's what we call the mama bear instinct, right? Like, try to hurt my young and I'm going to, try to hurt you. And I would say, let's turn left here.
All right.
And so, whenever we speak to these women, like, so believe it or not, Charlie, I have a master's degree in psychology. So I believe that I'm fully well equipped to handle a lot of these situations that come across my desk, right, and go right. And so when these women kind of come to us and, you can kind of hear the tears in their voices, right, as they're starting to tell their story, and then turn left there.
Okay.
And because I have a lot of training and I've been through, and like I feel like I'm more equipped to kind of handle these situations. But we're definitely a little bit more sensitive to these women that have been in these situations because we understand how hard it is. Yeah. And for someone to ask for help, like that is always the first step.
Gotcha.
And, you know, Kenesha is just one example of, you know, the hundreds of women that have come through our program. I mean, Not Me is 5 years old now, and we've officially had 1,300 graduates within our program. And so that means that 1,300 women in San Diego are now safer and are equipped with firearms because of Not Me SD.
Do when you have your social shoots, like you get the ladies up and going, you know, guide them about making a purchase and all that kind of stuff, all this kind of stuff, and then they keep coming back?
They do. So what's interesting about the shooting socials is we get a lot of repeats of these women that will come back.
Take a left, take a right?
I mean, the beach is right here, so you tell me what you want to do.
I did not bring my two-piece.
I didn't either.
Oh.
But you said you wanted to get a selfie somewhere, didn't you?
Yes, I do.
So where would you like to get a selfie at? I mean, because we could almost pull over, like here.
Like here would be a good place to pull over.
Well, the rocks are right there.
That's right. We can climb on the rocks, can't we?
We can.
All right. We'll be back. So we are back from Dog Beach.
Yes.
Dog Beach is absolutely beautiful. We got to see the
You got to see the ocean.
Got to see the ocean.
On Coronado Island.
On Coronado Island.
But we did not put our feet in the sand because Charlie did not want to. We went to the edge of the mat where you could walk on.
Right.
That was enough for him.
There's two things that I hate, and one of them is sand.
You don't like the sand between your toes?
No, I don't.
It's one of my favorite things, Charlie.
Right, well, this isn't really going to work out.
No, I'm sorry, Charlie.
That's all right.
You don't like the sand between your toes?
It's not that I like it or don't like it or dislike it. I'll tell you what I don't like.
What don't you like, Charlie?
I don't like bringing the sand in from the beach back into the house and have it be there for like 7 months before you finally get rid of it. And then by the time, where I live in New England, by the time you get rid of all the sand, you start to bring in all the crap from the snow. So
we don't have that problem out here in California because we don't get snow.
Yeah, okay.
Here we usually have spring and fall, and that's about it. Yeah.
I would like to find some place that has less. I appreciate all 4 of the seasons. I would like to find less of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why San Diego has less of them.
All right, I want to go down the list of guns that I have. Can I possess them?
So there's this whole thing that we talk about. The government, doesn't always have to know about these guns that you have.
Yes.
And if there's someone threatening to take all of your firearms away from you, full disclosure, I personally think that you should have some that the government doesn't know about just in case shit hits the fan. Oh, I'm sorry, am I allowed to say that on here?
Yes. Even YouTube doesn't watch my show.
Okay,
so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I watch your show.
And I appreciate that. Yes, all right. So staying with some California stuff, you guys have a roster. In Massachusetts, we have a roster.
Okay.
In order to get on the roster in Massachusetts, you have to, the manufacturer has to pay like $10,000 a gun to have the state try to destroy the gun. And if the state cannot destroy the gun, then they determine the gun is safe to own. Unfortunately, we get these people on the bike.
Yeah,
they're gonna stop.
Don't run them over, Charlie. Remember.
So that's a first for riding shotgun. We have to run them over. No, just kidding.
I would make a joke here, but I'm going to be politically correct.
Okay. Oops, we don't turn here.
No,
we turn up the next one.
The next one, yeah.
They don't have to stop.
Here.
Nice.
They don't have to stop either.
Oh, they do not have to stop.
Don't worry, viewers. Charlie might try to kill me on this trip, but we're okay.
Well, at least we're not going to Mexico.
He doesn't know about how there aren't some stop signs here and there, so we were just trying to navigate through traffic and dodging some cars here. It's okay. We survived it.
Bikes, cars,
we're okay.
Whatever.
He almost hit some bike list. It's okay.
They think they own this is the thing. The bikers think they own the road,
but they do not.
They don't. It's really me that owns the road.
Right. But yes, we have a same roster here in California. That it's the same test that they have to go through to get a gun on the roster. And to my knowledge, you have to have, if one gun gets added, then 3 have to be taken off.
See, we don't have that in Massachusetts.
Yes, but I don't think that's been happening in California because we've had a lot of really cool firearms being added to the roster recently, and I have not seen anything come off or there's anything of importance that I would care about.
Right. Well,
so, go ahead. No, so recently we had, again, the 365, which I was super excited about. We actually had the Hellcat, which that was an interesting one that, has never been on the roster for California. And I had a chance to shoot that recently, and I was very impressed with it. But I've heard the trigger is not so great, and so a lot of people will, swap out the trigger on that one.
Yeah.
But fun fact about all of my firearms is all of mine are colors. So, of course, teal is my favorite color. So I have a teal shield. My AR, which is my baby, was specially color coded to my specifications, and so I like to show the women that I work with that you can have fun with guns and they don't have to be all boring, boy colors or black. You can have a pink gun if you want, which I don't like a pink gun. Mine are all teal or blues is kind of like my color palette that I like to stay with. And so I bought an M&P shield, another one a couple years ago, because one of my gun shops that I'm always at ordered one that was in teal, and so when I walked in, they were just like, Desi, look at this gun here. And I was just like, gosh dang it, guys, like, you had to get a teal gun because I would want it. So it was an easy sell for them. They kind of punked me into it.
That's cool.
And over here is the golf course for Coronado.
Oh, wow.
So it's beautiful.
Nice.
I do not golf because I think it's boring. Sorry, viewers, if you like to golf, but I will drive around the golf cart and be your chauffeur and drink while you were golfing.
What I enjoy about golfing is what I enjoy about fishing, and that's smoking cigars.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
Very cool.
What else do you want to talk about?
All right. Tell us more about Not Me SD, and then we're going to wrap it up.
So, Not Me SD is a program that we really want to empower women with firearms. So, we help women purchase firearms. We want to help them find the right trainers, and we also want to help them get their CCW.
Gotcha.
The great thing about Not Me is we really try to work with our local instructors and our local gun ranges and promote their classes. So we do some ourselves, but we really want to use it as a resource to get women out into our gun community and get business to our partners that we work with here on a local level.
Very cool. Very cool. And you said there's a scholarship program you guys have?
Yes. So we recently started a nonprofit called Not Me CA, and this nonprofit was specifically because we needed a way to be able to collect donations for Not Me, so that way if a woman couldn't afford to go through the program or afford to buy a firearm, because it's expensive to buy a gun, it's expensive to get training, and so we never want money to be a reason why someone can't afford to go through the program. And so we now offer scholarships to women that unfortunately can't afford that, and we sponsor them throughout the program until they're kind of ready to graduate, and then they go off on their own.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's been great to have those resources because, again, it's expensive to own firearms, especially in California. We have amazing taxes and things that we have to go through, and so
it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's exhausting keeping up with everything, but the nonprofit has brought in a lot of resources, and I've been able to apply for grants through like the NRA. We have local grants that I've been able to apply for, and so I'm really great about going out and finding the money that I need to get the women the help through the program.
Cool. That's awesome.
It is.
All right, where can people find everything? We're going to wrap it up.
Yep, you're going to go that way.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
No, you're right. That way. Sorry. To learn more about Not Me SD, go to notmesd.org to find more. But we are only local to San Diego. We are not a nationwide program. If you guys want to hire me to go nationwide, that's great. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Not Me USA, I've been told we want to start working on that. But for now, we're just based here in San Diego, and we're happy to help as many women as we can.
Very cool. Very cool. We're going to put a link to that. We'll put a link to the San Diego County Gun Owners. Are you a regular with Schwartzy on the Gun Owners Radio? Because I hear him talk about your program a lot when I was.
He tries to take credit for my program, and even though he's boss man, I am the brains behind Not Me SD. So if he's ever trying to take credit for it, just know that I'm the one that's doing everything in the background. So
gotcha.
But no, I'm not a regular on Gun Owners Radio. That's Schwartzy's thing. I will go on when I have special events, or there are special months, like we have Domestic Violence Month and Sexual Assault Awareness Month that happen, twice a year. So I'll go on and talk about big promotions or programs, but typically that's Schwartzy, and it's election season, and so that's really the big concentration right now is Who's going to get elected?
Well, I don't know if I can get elected. I don't know. I'm going to try this. I do a horrible...
Kamala?
Kamala, yes. After a couple of drinks, I have a pretty good Trump impersonation. But,
what, with his toupee?
With the toupee, with the hands, with the tugging. It's not so bad sometimes, you know.
He's very a hand gesture kind of guy.
He really is. He has like two hand gestures. It's this and then this.
So, you know, in Pilates, we call that the Pilates V when you do this.
Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't do Pilates.
I mean, it's a great workout, and I think you're going to go out here.
All right. Are we?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It says that.
It says we're staying this way.
163 north.
163. Oh, I guess so. All right. We are... We're going to wrap it up. We're going to put links in there below. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to pay attention. Pleasure was mine. Pleasure was mine. Thanks for coming up and talking and hanging out.
Well, thanks for coming to my beautiful city and let me take you on a drive around.
I enjoyed it. It's beautiful here.
It is.
It really is. It really is. All right. So if you are not, if you have not subscribed to the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share the show with your friends, because that is how we get the Stagecoach across America. If you have not joined the Second Amendment Foundation, you can follow them at, you can donate to them. You can join them at saf.org. There is going to be a link below. And we're going to sit in some California traffic for a bit. So you can check out all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at sdrn.us. That's the Self-Defense Radio Network. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.